Okay, hello. My name is Misiano Joel, and by the grace of God, I run a fashion label called House of Misiano, and we're located in Lagos State, in Nigeria. Okay, so I want to share my testimony of how God lifted me from nothing to something. How God lifted my business. So to start with, some years back, let's say as far back as 2011 or 2012, I used to work, with Arik Air as an air hostess. So you might just think, oh, yeah, I had a good job. But guess what? Along the line, I was laid off. I lost my job in 2012, okay? And it wasn't that easy. But there was something that had happened to me before that time. I attended a program in my church back then in Lagos. And as we were praying, the Lord spoke to me about something He was going to do in my life. So what I did was to wait on Him for scriptures. So even though I was working at that time, I always used to pray concerning that thing the Lord was going to do. And God gave me some scriptures. Okay, so fast forward to when I lost my job. So I lost the job and I was still praying, with the scriptures and with the revelation the Lord had given to me. I really didn't know what it was. He just said He was going to do something great, something significant in my life. And that was where it ended. He didn't tell me how. He didn't say, how God does His things. He can give you an information, but He will not disclose the details because He's expecting you to trust Him. At best, He will give you scriptures to guide you. He can do that. And that was what the Lord did for me, So I kept praying with the scriptures, not knowing that the Lord had a wonderful surprise for me. So, somehow I had met somebody who runs an NGO in Ondo State. Now, if you know where Ondo State is, it's not a place that you'll be so excited to go to. It's not a place that would excite you, even if you're invited to do anything. Ondo State is really a very small state compared to Lagos. But this man invited me to come and speak, to his youth. He runs an NGO. So I gladly went, just with an open heart. I just went. By this time, I had started running my fashion business, but it was shaky. In fact, my tailors were leaving me because I couldn't even sustain them. I had lost my job, and this was a business I was still growing. So you can imagine how bad everything was. At a point in time, I was not even doing much, but I knew my crafts. And every time I made a dress, people always loved it. But it's just that at that stage, my business was still trying to stand. So happily, I went to Ondo. I took the invitation, and I came to Ondo with all the arrangements. And then when I came, I saw, so many young people. Fine, I shared a few things with them. And eventually, to cut the whole story short, I helped them to start off the fashion designing units of that NGO. Now, as time went on, I started going to Ondo frequently to mentor and to teach fashion because I've been running a fashion school right from time, So I decided to pour in myself into these young people, or who I call my children. Along the line, we had like a business seminar. And that was when I heard for the first time, this was in 2012, that the federal government under the President Goodluck Jonathan, his administration, we were told that the government was going to give out grants. They were doing a program called You Win. You Win, that was back in 2012. But that very year, it was only for women. The program had actually been running for like 2 years or so. So that very year, 2012, the government said it was only for women. So only women were allowed to apply. And when I heard about it for the first time, I'd never heard where federal government is giving free money. I was told that we were not going to pay back. They were going to give us the financial assistance between 1 million to 10 million. So depending on the capacity of your business plan, you write what your business requires. So if your business requires as much as 10 million, fine. If it requires 5 or 1, fine. It's up to you. So it was like an open check. And the good thing was that we were not going to pay back. I had never heard that before. So you know what I did? I went back to God in prayer. And I said, Lord, I've never heard of this kind of a thing, but if you are in this thing, please, Lord, then confirm it. I don't want to go into anything without God backing me. I needed the Lord to confirm. So I remember the first time I prayed, I had a dream. I had a revelation. And in that revelation, I saw myself going to Akure, exactly where the office of the UWIN, the Akure branch was. And I saw that I submitted my business proposal right into their computer. So when I woke up, I knew the Lord was speaking to me, because you must understand that God speaks to us through dreams and visions. Some dreams are prophetic and are very informative. Many times they reveal the plans of God, or maybe the plans of Satan. So depending on what God is trying to tell you, you need to understand things like that. So I understood from my dream that the Lord was speaking to me, that it was okay for me to go ahead. And don't forget, I told you I had been praying concerning a revelation the Lord gave me, back then. Maybe I think I got that revelation in 2010, and this is 2012. So I've been praying and be praying with the scriptures. So I was now having a witness that this could be one of the things the Lord was talking to me about, you see. So with all my heart, I went in for this. In fact, let me tell you something spectacular. The deadline of the submission of the proposal was meant to take place in July of 2012. But there was an incident that happened, and I got to know about that program in that same month of July. And it was because I was dilly-dallying and trying to make up my mind whether or not I should go, because I wasn't sure and I needed to hear from God. The 2 weeks ended, the whole of July ended. So in other words, I was late. The closing date was at the end of July, but guess what? Somebody called me and told me that the federal government had postponed the closing date to October of that same year because of some flood that took place in Bayelsa. So the federal government wanted to give women from Bayelsa states, another chance. So they extended the deadline. Can you see how God was working for me? Immediately I heard it. Wow. I swung into action. So I now realized that really God was really doing this for me. So by the time October came, I was able to go online, get the proposal. I answered every detail, and then I submitted. And then I was waiting on the Lord. And by December, by the grace of God, December that very year, I got a phone call that my name had come out for the first stage. Now, I want you to understand that competition was in 2 stages. So if you win the first stage, you are not guaranteed the second stage. It's until your name comes out in the second stage. When they were training us, we were told that about 60-something thousand people won the first stage. And by the time they are going to make their selection for the second stage, they are going to narrow it down to only 11,000. I wrote everything down because I was now working with divine vision and revelation. By the time I had seen what God wanted me to do, and by the time my name came out the first time, then I knew I had a serious witness that God was in this thing for me. So it would have been foolish of me to play with it. And so what happened was, by January of 2013, I went into serious prayers, praying and fasting, because I needed to wait on the Lord for this. And that second stage wasn't an easy stage. So that was when they took us to Lagos Business School, and then they trained us extensively for that second stage. They trained us on a lot of things, financial plan for 1 year. They trained us on a lot of things, and then they wished us good luck. So 11,000 of us were going to be selected out of over 60-something women that applied. Wow. So I went back to my closet and began to pray. and wait on God. At the same time, I was doing my research, and because by the grace of God, at least I knew a little bit of my crafts, so I was able to, give the answers they required. And then by the time I submitted, I now had to wait. And to cut the whole story short, by the grace of God, my name finally came out in May of 2013. So I got a text congratulating me that I was selected for, the program, for the You Win program. Now, prior to that, my final selection, I used to have a lot of revelations from God because I was already praying and waiting on the Lord. I know I had a couple of dreams. In fact, one of them was so specific, I can't forget it. It was like I was in an NYSC camp, and I had just graduated from NYSC, and then they presented to me, the NYSC certificates. And on it had the federal government signature. And then guess what? As they were giving it to me, they said, congratulations, you won the award. But the environment and the setting was like NYSC. So the Lord only used a Nigerian factor or a government establishment to illustrate what was ahead of me. So somehow I knew that I was going to win that. I knew.